Welcome to A Friday Reads, where I talk about what I'm reading and what I hope to get to next. I have not finished anything yet because I have started all of the tomes. I mean, if you saw my TBR for the month, like it's just so many things. And then I've added things onto the TBR that weren't on it because I am easily influenced on my Discord. So we'll see what happens, but we're just gonna, go through my thoughts. So we'll start with the book I'm buddy reading, that is Dragon Haven by Robin Hobb. We are 70-some% of the way through this. I think I should finish it on the day you're seeing this video, the day after, very soon. We are near the end of this book, and it's really enjoyable. I think I liked the first book a bit more. If we treat this all as one book, these first two, I think that it's lagging for me in the middle, and the middle happens to be like the beginning of this book, and there are repetitive qualities. So I think my issues with this are less about the themes we're exploring. There's a lot of coming-of-age themes, a lot of changing, there's a lot of physical and emotional and mental metamorphoses going on. But I do think a lot of our point of view characters keep having the same internal conversations over and over and over again, and I'm just like, guys, if we just only had these internal conversations a few times, and we just trust that the readers understand that, like, yes, these are cyclical things that you never stop thinking about, we could have made both of these books into one book. We could have, it would have been one long, 750, 800 page book, but it could have happened. That's my issue, is I'm noticing this repetitive quality, and it's not an enjoyable thing to me, even though I like all the characters. I like what's happening with Elise, I like what's happening with Daimara, I'm still working on Cedric, if you know, you know. Love Leftrin, I'm enjoying all the characters, and I'm enjoying the situations they're in. There's a lot of moments that are happening, they're like, yes! It's just that these people keep having repetitive thought processes, which is normal. That is how humans are, but I'm reading a book, and I don't need it to be an accurate depiction of how humans are to this extent, But that said, the buddy read is still where this shines. I love all the theories we keep having. I love the reactions people are having to certain events. Today when we were reading, Grace didn't even, leave a voice message, just wrote, "All I will say, chapter blank, finally." And I'm like, I also concur, not talking about anything specifically, where we're just waiting for a moment that finally happened. So yeah, there's a lot of fun theorizing going on, a lot of good discussion. I do think I wouldn't enjoy this as much without the discussion, for sure. That was the same with Dragon Keeper, I think. It's just, otherwise, it doesn't feel like a lot is happening, even though things are happening, but it's a journey story, and it's a journey metaphorically and physically. And I tend to like metaphorical journeys more, but the way that's being execution, like I said, repetitive, like me right now talking about it. So, reading that, I'm very close to being done. I don't know if I might be done by Friday, so I might be done by the time you're seeing this video, but I'm not done now. The Veiled Throne by Ken Liu. This has been so fun. I've been having such a good time. It's one of those things where I was reading it this past weekend, and I was just sitting there reading. I only got 50% of the way done. I was on page 470 or something, only 50% of the way done on my Kindle, and I was like, I'm not even mad about it, because I have so many more pages to go. There's so much more. I don't know. And there are so many stressful moments, but then also a lot of levity and quiet moments. It's really interesting how we're getting to observe Dara and the next generation. The project of this series is exactly my cup of tea. I am now in the infamous cooking section, which I don't know how I would have felt about it if I wasn't prepared that there was going to be a cooking section, but I'm vibing with it. I thought I would, and I'm not wrong. It's pretty great. I'm definitely going to go right into Speaking Bones when I finish this. I already have, I'll show you in the book haul. I already have a physical copy and the e-copy ready to go. I'm just really enjoying it. I don't know what to say about it, because it's the third book in the series, but it's doing this thing where we have all of our point of views and different quadrants exploring different aspects, seeing everything kind of get prepared and ready to come to its climax. You're seeing certain characters learn information that are definitely going to affect their decision making down the line, and you're like, ooh, you are a young, impressionable one, and you are being put in these situations, and what are you going to take away? It's cool. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, and I enjoy immensely the fact that it's finished. It's one of those things where it's and I trust that there is an ending. I hope I'll like the ending. I don't know many people who suddenly hate the ending. I don't know if it has a lot of love in the fandom, because once I knew I was going to read this, I stopped watching reviews and listening. It's everyone's already convinced me to pick this up. I will return for conversation once I have finally finished this project, but I'm loving it. That's all. I'm just having a great great time. And then the other book that I am reading right now is Trust for my local book club. This just was one of the 2 books that won the Pulitzer Prize this year, and I now kind of know what it's about because I've read, I think I'm going to say I'm halfway through, even though I think I'm technically like 47% of the way through, but this book is composed of quote-unquote 4 in-world books. Like, they're not in my understanding. Okay, guys, we'll see if I'm right. This is a story about this family, specifically this man who was part of the stock market, was very good at knowing where the stock market was going, and wasn't affected by the Great Depression. And within this one novel, Trust, written by a real person, Hernan Diaz, we have 4 different authors that have written 4 different works that kind of look at this story from different angles, and I've read the first 2. And the first one is a novel about a fictitious person in this world that is based off a real-life person within this world. And I don't believe that person is in our world during, like, our Great Depression stock market time, I think. And it's a fascinating project. I'm really curious. Like, the intrigue for me is, like, what are all these 4 things going to say, and what's going to be the whole picture? That's the intrigue for me. It's fascinating. So the first one, like I said, is a novelization. So it's already fictitious within its world, which is already a fictitious version of our world, so like extra fiction. And it worked really well for me. I flew by it about this man, and it's like kind of oddly sympathetic and not sympathetic to this man who was like, you know, he grew up in a rich family, but he didn't have that many friends, but the one thing he did know was math and numbers, and he was like a finance king. And then one day he met his wife, and they, you know, had this marriage of convenience that was still really strong, and then she got sick, and he had perspectives from this wife character. You had this wild treatment plan. Like, it was like this grandiose drama. It was a very dramatized version of a story. And, you know, I read it and I was like, oh, interesting. And then the next section is an autobiography written by the person that novel is based off of. But it's not a complete autobiography. It's like a first draft, almost. Like, there are some parts that are written in seamless prose. And then there are sections where it's like, insert blah, blah, blah. Like, they're like notes to come back to later. Like, if you've ever worked on a work of fiction or a work of nonfiction, you know, a research paper, sometimes you're like, I know this is going to go here, but I don't want to flesh that out yet. So I'm just going to, like, put in a placeholder and move on. And the first couple times that happened, I was like, okay. So I finished that. And what's also very interesting is it doesn't read like the author's voice. It reads like this person. And it reads like an amateur who thinks that they know how to write a book. Like, it's not poorly written, but it reminded me so strongly of my first drafts of writing, which are not bad, but they're not amazing. And it's like, oh, and like, and what I mean by it also is it's like the sentences are fine, they're there, but the flow of it, the repetitiveness of it, the idea of everyone is the hero of their own story, and how we kind of, when you think about what are the core components that make you who you are, you kind of cyclically get stuck on those things. And that's what this author is doing. It's like, man, you really are harping on these like same points over and over again. And I do not like this man. He is much more unlikable in his own memoir, which is also like kind of classic. This rich dude who thinks he can tell his own story better than anyone else. And, you know, he's going to tell the real story. You know, he's been wronged by XYZ. And it's just like, man, you are a lot. So it's fascinating because obviously both of these versions of this story, they're fictitious in their own ways. One's an actual fictional novel that's meant to have drama, meant to, you know, balance the whole, this is not a, you know, this is a morally gray protagonist, but you need to have someone to root for. And then we have this guy writing his own autobiography, and obviously he has never done anything wrong. Although, a thing I have definitely been reminded of while reading this is I still don't understand how the economy works. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty smart. I'm a pretty smart individual. And I really don't understand how the economy works, especially when you start talking about stocks and what is supporting what and what value of money means. And it's like, wow, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And this book is not meant to teach me that, but it just reminds me very strongly. So yeah, and also it's doing that thing that I like that historical fictions do that are set in the early 20th century, especially now that we're in the early 21st century, of like the cyclical nature of history. Like, there was literally a government plan called like America First, and I'm pretty sure we have used those words recently in politics in the United States. So it's just like, things just keep coming right around. So those are the 3 things I'm actively reading. I probably will have 2 of those things finished, maybe 3 by the time you're watching this video, maybe by Saturday. And I don't really know what I'm going to do next other than I want to read Speaking Bones, for sure. And I have, some shorter things that I might pick up because I haven't been reading shorter things. So maybe Freshwater, maybe The Mimicking of Known Successes. Who knows? I'm going to let myself mood read a tiny bit in that space. But also, like I said, I've already broken the TBR because I have no self-control. And in my Discord, someone posted their TBR of all the short story collections on their Kindle. And I own 2 of them. And I'm like, I own 2 of them. And then more people spoke up about wanting to read them. So now we have 2 Discord chats for 2 of these collections. I've only read 1 story so far, but I should probably pick these up. We have Gods of Want, this beautiful book that I own that would be hard to part with if I don't love it. I've only read the first story in this. Very stream of conscious, very striking visuals. Interested to see where this is going. Just haven't been in a great headspace because my anxiety has just been having a time, as mental health does. And then I haven't read this at all yet, but we have The Rock Eaters. So these are 2 short story collections that are being read as impromptu buddy reads in my Discord. If you own or are interested in buddy reading short stories with people, because I do always advocate that is the way to consume short stories. It helps them stick with you a little longer. You get more from them. You might see things you hadn't seen before. Yeah. So I'm excited, though, because I need to do a video on it or something, but I think I'm going to wait till after I get back from Colombia because I think I need a goals reset, so I'm planning on doing that because I'm I don't know if the goals I made at the beginning of the year are really valid for who I am right now and what I need right now. And recently I put all of my physical TBR books on the shelf, and I need to go through what's on there and figure out what are higher priorities, what's okay to just stay on there and not be touched for a while, that sort of thing. Because there's a lot of stuff on here that I'm really excited about, but haven't made plans to read. So the fact that I could go on that shelf and pull 2 books off felt really good. Now, have I read them yet? No, but it felt good. And then, continuing my collection of the Dandelion Dynasty, I bought 2 more of those books. Although, I am still just weirded out at how Saga Press does things, but it's whatever. It's fine. Because I returned my Veiled Throne copy that I showed you guys a few weeks ago, because it was from Amazon, because that's the only place I can get it from. Because apparently the Barnes & Noble in Boston is closing? Things I didn't think would happen, but I guess the Prudential and Barnes & Noble are no longer friends, so that's closing, so I can't order a book to be picked up there, and I'm not paying $7 in shipping in addition to the full price of a paperback. So that is all to say, I don't currently have a copy of The Veiled Throne, and that's currently out of print for my local bookstore to buy. And when I bought it from Amazon twice, it was damaged twice, which I'm okay paying less money for a damaged book, but I'm not okay paying full price for a damaged book. That's just not where I'm at financially. So I now own books 1, 2, and 4. And here's Wall of Storms. It doesn't have that flappy thing. It doesn't have the flappy thing. Now this and Grace of Kings have the same feel of its cover and stuff, and I like it. I like how they look. It's cool. This is my favorite in the series so far. And then I got Speaking Bones. And it's the same type of paper, but it's you can't tell on camera, which is why this doesn't matter. And the spine's at least uniform, unlike the spine of the hardcover. But it's silkier. It's weird that it's tactily not the same. I don't know if you can tell side by side, but they're not quite the same matting or texture. I don't know why Saga Press does what they do, but they're the same size and the spine's uniform, so we're going with it. Also, this is the most expensive of all the paperbacks in that series. This is $23, and this is $19, and I don't know why, because they're the same size. So I don't understand how anything works, but I have it. And I'm slowly going to collect them all because, hot take, I think these are better covers than the UK ones. I've said it. So it's my book life right now. And another thing I've done, and I've talked about it more in my Discord, is so I finally bought a remote clicker for my Kindle. Because I've kind of always wanted one, and the laziness of just being able to click there and have my hands under a blanket, because it's oddly cold in June right now, and including all the other weird weather stuff that's happening. But I just like the idea of not having to have my hand on my Kindle while turning the pages, or having it in one hand and being able to just lazily, I don't know. I wanted to be lazy. I bought this remote clicker. It's great. And then I bought a stand. So right now I have a setup on my couch to put my Kindle in so I can just read and lay back and pet Delilah. And it's wonderful. So, and that's actually, I think, really helped my reading momentum. So I've been doing that with both Trust and The Veiled Throne. So I'm sure I will just continue reading things there. But that's just a fun thing I've done. I'm having so much fun in Forbidden West as I am a broken record. But yeah, I finally defeated my first Thunderjaw of this game, and it was not as scary as the first time, but I was right to wait for a weapon that I didn't have when they first were going to give that to me in a quest. I'm no, quest. I do not have the tools for this job. I do not. I need to go acquire the tools for this job. So, yeah, I'm having a good time. So, it's an exciting month. A lot of things are finally done on my wedding to-do list. I think I don't have anything else on my wedding to-do list other than figuring out the legal paperwork. Like, we have all the forms and stuff. We just need to, like, do that, file that. I had my last dress fitting, and it's stunning, and I'm very excited. I really love my dress. And I think everything that the wedding planner and my dad need from me is handled, so I think I just need to, like, pack. And, like, it's a couple weeks away, but it's, like, 3 weeks away. I'm just like, it's just exciting. It's exciting to be in the exciting portion, because if you've ever planned a wedding or a big event or anything, you know that there are a lot of stressful parts. And this one in particular had a lot of stressful parts. So I'm happy to be in that area. So yeah, that is this week's Friday Reads, and I'm just looking forward to sinking into a bunch of books, playing a bunch of video games, and hopefully going outside soon, because it's been nice weather. Puta, are you trying to make an entrance at the end of this video? Are you? Is this your new thing? You're going to enter at the end of my videos? Oh, if you didn't see him on Wednesday, he did the exact same thing. He's so cute. Anyways, if you just want to leave an emoji, don't want to tell me anything about what you're reading, watching, doing, I don't know, what should they leave? What should they leave? You have any thoughts, Puto? How about money for trust? Anything that reminds you of the economy. So whether it's that graph that points up, money, coins, whatever you feel like. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.